I will be saying all the key terms of Chapter 11, and the first one is developmental psychology, which is the study of continuity in the lifespan and the change. The prenatal stage is it's from when the baby's born, that's when it ends, and then 9 months earlier, that's when it starts, so when the baby's conceived. Zygote is a fertilized egg that contains chromosomes for both the sperm and the egg. Chromosomes, there's 23 on each, the egg and the sperm, and this egg can only be an X chromosome, and the male can either be X or Y, and X or Y will be a male, and XX will be a girl. Germinal stage is the first 2 weeks of prenatal development. The embryonic stage is from 2 weeks to 8 weeks in the prenatal development, and that's when they start to get body parts. The fetal stage is the 9th week and until birth, and that's when they get muscles and create a skeleton. Myelination is a fatty sheath that's around the axon of a neuron. Placenta is an organ that physically connects the bloodstream of the mother and the embryo, and it permits like certain chemicals to go through and others not to. Teratogens are agents that damage the process of development, and so that can be drugs and viruses. So the most common would be alcohol and tobacco. Fetal alcohol syndrome is a disorder that happens when the mother has too much alcohol while she's pregnant, and that can cause damage to the brain. Infancy is from birth to 18 to 24 months. Habituation is when a stimulus is shown repeatedly, and so the organism will respond less to it every single time. Motor development is the physical movements that you learn when you're a child. Reflexes are specific patterns of motor skills that are triggered by specific patterns of sensory stimulation. And there's rooting reflex and there's another one, sucking reflex. Top to bottom rule is that you start from your head to your feet, so you can move from the top to the bottom. Inside to outside is the rule that we first learn in the center and then the peripheral. Cognitive development is the stages. It's from Jean Piaget, and it's the emergence of the ability to think and understand. The 4 stages of cognitive development is sensory motor stage, pre-operational stage, concrete operational stage, and formal operational stage. Sensory motor stage is when you're just an infant, you mostly have to move around and sense your environment. You can't logically think about anything. That lasts about up to 2 years. Schemas is understanding the world around you. Assimilation is using your schemas for things you already know. And accommodation is when your schemas don't work. So let's say like you think a horse is a cat, but you have to make a new schema to understand that those aren't the same thing. Object permanence is the knowing that something exists even when it's out of sight. So like let's say you put a blanket over a ball, the ball's still there. Childhood is from 18 to 24 months to adolescence, so that's from 11 to 14, depending when you hit sexual maturity. Pre-operational stage is, I'm not sure about this one. You have a preliminary understanding of the physical world, and it is from when you're 2 to 6 years old. Concrete operational stage is when you understand conservation, and that's when you have a physical understanding of the world as well. Conservation is that even if you were to put like water in like a bigger glass, it looks less, but it'd still be the same amount, and that's what pre-operational kids don't really understand yet. Centration is when you focus on one thing, one physical aspect, rather than the rest. Reversibility is where children don't understand that you can reverse something. So if you were to put in a skinnier glass, like a glass of water, you can put it back in that bigger one and it'll be big, and so you can reverse it. Formal operational stages, you begin to have abstract thinking. Egocentrism is that you don't know that different people have different thoughts and feelings than you and see the world differently. Theory of mind is when you start to understand that people have their own beliefs, feelings, and understand that they have different mental representations. Slower at acquiring theory of mind is kids with autism and children that are deaf but parents don't use sign language. 3 basic abilities that allow infants to learn are joint attention, social referencing, and imitation. Joint attention is, it says reflection, but I don't know why I put that. Attention is that you focus on what they focus on, so when you see your mother look the other way, you'll look where she's looking. Imitation and over-imitation is when you copy what the parent meant to do, but over-imitation is when you precisely copy, even if it's unnecessary, and that's not always a good thing. Social referencing is when you look at your mother to see if what they think, like, so you can copy that, so you think what they think. So, like, if you see a new person, you'll look at your mom to see if it's safe to go towards that person or something like that. Attachment is the emotional bond between the primary caregiver and the newborn. Strange Situation was by Mary Ainsworth, and that's to see the child's attachment style. The 4 attachment styles are secure, avoidant, ambivalent, and disorganized. And secure is the baby can be either distressed or not distressed. If it's distressed, then it'll go towards its mother when she comes back when she left. Or if it's not distressed, then it'll greet its mother, but not really go towards her. Ambivalent is they're angry at their mother, they're distressed, and they just get mad. Avoidant, they don't really care, they're not distressed, but they don't even acknowledge the mother when she comes back. And disorganized is not, it's not consistent. Temperaments are how you react to a situation, that's your characteristics. Internal working model of relationship is the set of beliefs of yourself, your primary caregiver, and the relationship between yourselves. Piaget's moral thinking of development is realism to relativism, prescription to principles, and outcomes to intention. Moral reasoning through basic stages of Goldberg, so pre-conventional stage, conventional stage, and post-conventional stage. Pre-conventional stage is looking at the consequences. Conventional stage is the social rules. And post-conventional stage is your own ethical rules, what you think is okay to do. Adolescence is when you hit sexual maturity. That's from ages 11 to 14. And lasts until 18 to 21 years of age. Puberty is bodily changes with sexual maturity. Primary sex characteristic is for reproduction, so that would be getting your period and guys enlarging in their testes, penis, and scrotum. Secondary sex characteristics is when it's not meant for reproduction, so like enlargement of breasts, widening in hips, growing facial hair, and increase in estrogen for the girls, and then increase in testosterone for the guys. Tempo is how fast a guy develops. Adulthood is from 18 to 21 years of age till death. Socioselectivity theory is what older people choose to focus on, what younger people. So like older people, because they are going to die soon, they want to do things that'll satisfy them, but younger people want to do things that they'll learn from, like reading reviews, while older people will just like read a novel or like play chess or something. Effects of aging is the lack in working memory, episodic memory, and retrieval tasks, but often they find strategies. So that is all chapter 11. Thank you.